Hello, welcome to today's how-to video. Now, I started this project with the Malkador Annihilator quite a while back, and early on I noticed the detail was very fine. It was very nice, and they actually included a segment of detail that I really wanted to enhance. And there's a box in the lower part of the turret here with some conduit leading to the base of an antenna. Now, there's no antenna that came with the model, it's just the base. And most of the antennas you see in the regular gaming type kits are pretty bulky. So I want to go in with more of a fine scale approach and put together this antenna you see here in front of you. This is a very flexible antenna, so the advantage to this is it won't break off. In fact, if it does happen to get damaged for any reason, it's actually a very simple thing to replace. So today we're going to go through how do you go about installing one of these things. Yeah, how do you make it? Where did it come from? All right, so let's get it set up and I'll show you some of the steps and materials you use to make this very durable antenna as part of your tanks. Okay, so here we have a very typical Games Workshop antenna, a communication array that you'd put on the back of most any tank. This one happens to be on one of my fire salamanders. That's what I call the model anyway. Now, you'll notice it sticks up quite a bit above the tank itself. And of course, reaching down onto the tank to either pick it up or to put markers on it, it's very easy to hit that. And it is pretty stiff, so it's very easy to break. Now, my initial attempt to defeat the breakage is put this in. This is just a press fit into the railing, but as you can see, as I try to take it out, it's not really easy to get out. Eventually, though, you can get it out. Okay, so even though it's I call breakaway, the reality is it'll break. So this is just a matter of me reaching down onto the table, caught the antenna wrong, and boom, it popped off. So as a result of this, I really decided I had to go ahead and try to figure out a way to get a more durable antenna. And I stumbled across, in my memories, a paintbrush. Now this is back a few decades ago, so we won't go into how far back that really was. But they're when they're made of nylon bristles. These weren't. These are craft brushes as opposed to nice fine home painting brushes or whatever. And they had very thick bristles, black nylon bristles. I thought, hey, that's a great idea. Well, I can't find any of those, but I found something almost as good. You can buy these in like any hardware store, or maybe even some convenience store. We call box stores, Walmarts and kind of stuff like that. It's just a broom head. The key here, though, is the bristles are all a type of nylon, and they're already a dark gray, which is fantastic because it's almost already pre-colored, right? You don't need to worry about painting it and the possibility of paint coming off of it. So now the one thing that you'll notice is all the bristles at the end are frayed, and that's by design. And obviously that's not something we want, so we're going to have to do something about that. So all you need to do is go find yourself a quick brush. Personally, this is not a brush I'm going to keep in my hobby supply. I'll take a few bristles off of this, put them in a safe place, and then I'll actually attach this to the end of a broom handle, and we'll use it as intended. Okay, so no needing wasting stuff. All right, so let's get set up. Okay, so these are the tools you're going to need. Obviously, besides the brush itself, you'll need a pair of fine scissors. You can use a hobby knife as well. I just think this is a little more efficient, a quicker way to deal with it without trying to maneuver this large brush around to get on the right cutting surface. You'll need a pin vise with the smallest collet you can get, or vise and collet. These are 2 drill bits. I'll talk about those in a second. Always have at least 2 because it's very easy to break these, and you'll see why in a second. And of course, super glue. Optionally, you can also have PVA, but you're definitely going to use super glue. You may or may not need to use PVA. Okay, so let's go into the steps here. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the pin vise and the drill bits themselves. Now, the first thing to do is obviously find the brush you're intending to use, and then you'll need to find the drill bit that is the appropriate size. See if I can get that to focus in on that. No, maybe not. Okay. That is a very tiny number 79 drill bit. Okay. Now the larger the number, the smaller the diameter. 80 is the smallest drill bit I know. 79 is one step up from it. It is 0.015 or 15 thousandths of an inch thick. Now this one happens to match this brush. So find the brush bristles, figure out which diameter drill bit you're going to use, and then go from there. Now if you don't have one this small, you use a slightly larger one, you will need the PVA for that. But let's just go ahead and we'll use this. And we're kind of preparing here, so you're just going to put the drill bit in the pin vise. You'll start closing it as a little bit. Just open it ever so slightly to get the drill bit in. And you want to make sure it goes in straight. There we go. Yep, definitely cocked. Can't have that. With these very, very, very small ones, you want to close it slowly so it centers. And once you get it, tighten it down real good, you're set to go. Okay? Alright, so that's ready there. So let's go ahead and we're just going to pick off a few of these. They don't have to be perfectly straight. They can be curved a little bit already. Remember, these are aerials, so they may have already taken a little bit of damage of some sort. And you want to cut it down at the base as low as you can. Just pop a few off. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut a few off because I plan on, like I said, using this brush. So I'm just going to get myself a small supply here real quick that I can put away. Boom. There we go. Alright. That should do me for a while. Okay. Now take a close look at... Okay, so let's take a close look. See at the very tip, it's frayed. It's intended to do that, right? Because that's more surface area or pieces of this that will be able to pick up dirt. Well, obviously we don't want that. And the problem with this is this brush is designed, the fibers are designed to break apart like that. So even if you take off the tip and cut it, you're going to run the risk in the future, especially if your antenna's banged around a bit, it's going to start fraying again. So that's where the super glue will come in. You're going to actually seal the very tip of it so that it doesn't fray anymore. Now, the PVA glue, we'll actually use it if you feel like you need it to actually secure this into the hole in the base of the antenna base. Okay. On the Malcador, it's just press fit because the size is very, very, very close. So I don't want to have to worry about possibly ripping some paint off or damaging the base itself. I just want to pull it out because it is a fine casting and it is resin. So anyway, so we're going to take this and we're going to cut right up there at the top here. You want to find the lowest part where it's fraying, and then you will cut. Oh, let's see, it's actually lower than that. It's actually way down here. And just cut very quickly. Okay. And that might be too short. Might not. We don't know. So let's take a quick look. Compare this to the one that came with the kit. Okay. And you can see, barely see, it's a little shorter. Okay. Now I actually want mine a little bit longer, so I'll just grab one that is the right length, trim it, and we're good to go. Okay, so before I do anything, I want to lay this flat on, and basically dry the super glue on the end. So I'm going to simply, let me set this up again. Okay, so now that I've got this, I want to make sure I put the super glue right on the very end. This is a gel type. You don't have to use gel. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you what you do if you are using a gel. It will come out with a little ball on the end. You can see it in this because I haven't painted it yet. I personally wanted that. Okay, you don't have to have it that way. If you use a very thin, regular super glue, a non-gel type, you won't have that at the end, that little bulb. Either way, though, you can do it. Okay, so let's take a look now at how do you go about doing this. All right, the first thing you're going to do is, now you've got the piece that's, well, I'm assuming it's broken off and you want to replace it. You're going to have to remove any part that's left on the piece of the antenna. You need this to be completely flat, and then you will need to mark where you're going to drill it. So it's just a matter of taking your knife and shaving it off. Okay, once you've done that, now you're going to find the exact center, or I should say close enough to it, where you want to put the antenna with your blade, and then you're going to kind of just twirl a bit just to kind of make a hole. That's almost your pilot hole, though not quite a pilot hole, but it's a dimple. Okay, and the reason you're doing that is it's going to catch the drill bit and keep it from walking off the model. Okay, so it's just a matter of keeping it 90 degrees and then slowly pressing in to start drilling out. Okay. Now you just need to go in as far as an 1/8 of an inch or so. Doesn't need to be too far. All right. Okay. Now you've done that, you want to test fit. So you find the hole, find the antenna, and press it. And there it is. Okay. And it's in there now. Now since this is the front of the tank, or this is toward the back of the tank, and this is toward the front, I want to turn this antenna around slightly so that it's bowing to the back. Okay, as much as possible there. Now this is pretty loose. So this is a situation, where I'm going to use PVA. So, so let's get that out. Okay, so now it's just a matter of getting that PVA on the end of the wire, or the nylon. Okay. Alright, and then just go ahead and find the spot. And put it in. Then just let it dry. Okay, once it's dry, you can go ahead and paint the very tip with a charcoal or a very dark gray or even a black, just to hide that white dot, and then it will look very much like an aerial you'd find out in the real world. So here's an example. You can see on this one, I've actually had to go ahead and I painted the very tip. See if I can keep that in focus there. There it is. See. So that piece, I painted it black, very tip, to hide the CA, the super glue. Okay. All right. So now that's done, now you have a antenna that can be flicked about and damaged, or not damaged, but knocked around, and it won't come off your model, won't break. And again, if you need to, you just pop it off out of the PVA and replace it with a stash you may have collected. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, that's how you make what I'll call a scale antenna or aerial for a tank vehicle out of a material that makes it very durable and can stand abuse on the tabletop. So you don't have to worry about your models breaking every time you try to reach for them. Alright, so let me know what you think below. Share, like, and subscribe, and see you in the next how-to video. Bye.